Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you might be in the world. This is Northwest UFO Chasers radio broadcast for January 2012. This will be radio broadcast 1 for the year. We're going to get right into it, man. We were talking about Mars and the hollow moon, but we're going to jump right into Enki, and I'm going to explain who Anu, Enki, Enlil, their spouses equals 6. 3 other individuals to include Ishtar, Inanna, and there was their spouses. That's 12 total that was in this group of engineers, genetic scientists that were doing experimentation on hominid species. All right, we'll be right back after the break. Hey, thanks for sticking around. Really appreciate it. And we're going to get into this, man. As we know, this week is Pound Anonymous and Pound OWS. And it's almost come to the point where we might have to gather together and just not make a credit card payment or a house payment, man, and really let them know. But if we make that decision as a group of OWS or a group as Anonymous, we have to do it at one time and all together and really send a message. So, anyway, I want to get back into Enki and this exciting part about one of the things that we discovered was some of the interesting time frames that are involved here with looking at exactly 100,000 years ago. We were in some caves and we were CRO-MAGNON, and all of a sudden we were given cultivation, the seeds of all different types of fruit-bearing and orchard trees, different types of fruits, olives and apricots, all different types of seeds to produce all different types of plants we were given. Anyway, you can go right to the Bible in a reference. It's not Genesis, it's genealogy of Isis. And it's not Eden, it's the Edom. And it's the Garden of Edom. But what I have to tell you is 12 genetic engineers to include Anu. Now, let me just stop. Well, I'll just say it's Anu, Enki, Enlil, and their 3 spouses. And then there were 3 others to include Ishtar. Her name was also Inanna, and their spouses. And that was 12 for the original team of 12. But it's really simple. Anu is the Danish Viking Nordic god Odin, just as the Greek god Zeus and the Roman god Jupiter are the same individual. And this is Anu, the Sumerian god. Now, Enki and Enlil were Anu's 2 sons. En, in cuneiform Sumerian pictographic, means Lord of. Kai means over the waters and the oceans of the earth. Lil means over the air, space, and lands of the earth. So we have Enlil and Enki given the earth to have domain over, and this genetic engineering team Now, Enki is also Poseidon, and he is also Neptune. The Greek god Neptune, the Roman god Poseidon, Enki. Now, why did they flood the region at the bottom of the Garden of Eden? Because they were doing genetic engineering there, and they wanted to erase the remnants of what had been going on. But prior to 100,000 years ago, that we know that the genetic engineering produced therianthropes, half man, half beast type creatures, and giants. And the giants were the ones that lifted the blocks that built places, the foundation, if you will, at Baalbek, the foundation, if you will, at Eridu today, and Pumapunku. There was a shifting of plate tectonics and many different things that occurred that we don't have time to go into here. But what I'm saying is giants. There were different strains of genetic engineering going on in different, but originally it was a species of Australopithecus genus, Ferensis species, so AFERENSIS for short. It was found to be a splice in a gene, in a chromosome, that identified a modification that is indicating that we have been genetically engineered. Now, the modification of that hominid species ultimately led to the development of the increased brain size of a humanoid and a hominid species named CRO-MAGNON. And that CRO-MAGNON was given at 100,000 years ago cultivation, all of these seeds, and they produced and built the Garden of Eden. But Enki was still involved on the earth. Even though Enki was amphibian and he could breathe in and out of the water, remnants. Now, it is told in the ancient Sumerian tales, but what we found is that we found that there is an older language than the cuneiform of the ancient Sumerian, in the sense that there are these pictographs that are in Akkadian. And within those pictographs of Akkadian, the story is this linkage between Enki and Noah. So Neptune, Poseidon, Enki talks to Noah and tells him that there's going to be a breach at the Gulf of Hormuz, which there, if you look, and then the waters of the ocean on the other side will rush in and flood that region and area, which it did over 100,000 years ago. And all I can say is between 100,000 and 4.5 million. Because the hominid species that was genetically engineered in the first place that we are identifying as AFERENSIS 4.5 million years ago. So the development over time of from 4.5 million years up to 100,000 is the development up and into the Cro-Magnon, who was in caves. They were cavemen. And they had been drawing pictures on the walls and things, and they actually drew pictures of spaceships and UFOs, because we were in communication with beings. Now, the interesting part about all of this is that second group of three with that Ishtar, she pops up in some interesting places, but she put on 7 pieces of equipment to take her from here to the hollow moon. Now, you have to have listened to the last radio broadcast in order to understand why she was even going to the hollow moon. But anyway, it's very interesting, the handoff between the ancient Sumerian culture and Ishtar Inanna and what we have written in ancient cultural manuscripts and things turning into hieroglyphics being handed down to the ancient Egyptians. So this is critical and important linkage here. We're getting closer to understanding something that looks like something that we do not know we want to be reality, in the sense that all the stories in the ancient Jewish bodies of work, known as like the Nag Hammadi and the books of Enoch, are in fact true. And in the books of Enoch, it talks about angels mating with mortal women. Again, if we look at this as alien intelligence, okay, it all makes perfect sense. So again, everything substantiates everything else. And ancient Jewish, the interesting part about that is that Abraham is again representative of Isaac and Ishmael, which is Isaac representing Judaism, Ishmael representing Islam. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are really brothers to Hinduism and Buddhism. We can all get along if we all look at it in the right context and how it was given to us by God. But I find it interesting that the masters were giving us the message all along. And Abraham is representative again, like I said. Anu is Odin in the Danish Viking. He is Neptune to the Romans. He's Poseidon to the Greeks, or the other way around. But it doesn't matter. It's Enki, the ancient Sumerian lord of all the waters and the oceans, who developed a laboratory, because he was amphibian, at the bottom of the Persian Gulf to genetically engineer on Australopithecus, who was also given, ultimately, the Garden of Eden, which is cultivation. 50,000 years later, he was given domestication of animals, and that was the transition marked by the communication between him and Noah, by putting the animals. And again, what we'll do there is show at 25,000 years we were civilized, but there's an argument between 25,000 to 11,000 years ago, or what archaeology and anthropology have dug up and are able to prove materially. But then if we look at the CIA proto-languages and follow it back, we come to Akkadian pictographs, which are older in essence than Sumerian cuneiform. We know that some Sanskrit and pre-Sanskrit is older, and that goes to Hinduism and at the caves in those mountains that History Channel did a program on. Very interesting stuff, though, but it all correlates. Angkor Wat with the star system of Draco. Cygnus Deneb Cross in the night sky points to like an arrow at Orion's belt, where these beings came from that I'm talking about originally. So read my book, Origination, by Gregory M. Voles. I appreciate it. It's changing all the time. It's a work in progress. But this will conclude January 2012 radio broadcast by Northwest UFO Chasers. And if there are any advertisers that like to get on this bandwagon, please get a hold of me. We've been broadcast on the Kevin Smith Show, nationally syndicated. So we're looking for advertisers. Have a good day.